I believe there's a new era of sales just right in our near future, and salespeople need to react to it. Some people will be around, some people will not be around. Will you last it? Will you survive it? Are you still needed? Hey everyone, welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great day. I'm so excited to be here with you and to hustle and to share some thoughts and insights on this article that I read recently. Thank you, BJ Allen. Also one of my great friends for many years now, and he shared this article with me that was in Fortune magazine. And the article simply was stating, are salespeople becoming obsolete? There's some great ideas that were in this article, some great insights. I believe some of those things to be very true. I also believe there's a way that some of those things may not come true for a lot of great sales professionals. But before we dive into the fun stuff, start talking about this article, share my thoughts and insights, I have to give some shout outs. This week, I want to give a big shout out to Christopher Johnson. Thanks so much for connecting with me, Chris. I hope you have a fabulous week and keep hustling out there in the world of brand strategy. I also want to give a big shout out this week to Brandon. Thank you so much for the connection. I also want to give a big shout out this week to Cost Thomas. And also want to give a big shout out to my folks over at Beyond the Cookie. Thank you so much for connecting with me, and I look forward to learning from you, to be able to share thoughts and insights, to grow together, and just to be friends. You can go ahead and find me on LinkedIn, Donald C. Kelly. You can find me on Twitter, Donald C. Kelly. You can also find me on Instagram, Donald C. Kelly. Feel free to check us out on Facebook. My Facebook page is the Sales Evangelist. That's where you can come, get thoughts, insights, motivation, and just connect with us, see what's going on behind the scenes here at the Sales Evangelist. You can also check out our private Facebook group, the Sales Evangelizers. That's where sales professionals, entrepreneurs, people like you and me come together. We share thoughts, we share insights, we ask questions, just develop our abilities to improve and become greater in our profession as a sales professional or as an entrepreneur. We're all out there selling some way, shape, or form, even if you're not in the sales industry. But join the Sales Evangelizers and connect with like-minded people. Really appreciate it. So this article is actually pretty interesting. I was, again, introduced to it by a friend of mine. And when I started reading over it, it really grabbed my attention right away. And one of the things that it shared was there was a senior manager who shared that one of their higher-ups came to the company leaders and was talking about the idea of getting rid of some of their sales force. And the premise was based on a study that was done by Forrester, stating that by 2020, 1 million sales jobs will be lost or will not be needed because the fact that people don't want to deal with the salesperson. They don't want to deal with them. They can get around them. So they can use online tools to be able to just find out what they want to make a decision and just essentially cut out the middleman. You can see it in some industry. If you don't believe this stuff like this will happen, go ahead and just go back to the airline industry. I mean, how many people needed to make sure that they had someone, an agent to book a flight to Europe or to New York? Years ago, that's really what we did. We go sit down with this travel agent and get the things worked out. Obviously, now the travel agent's not needed because I can do all of that from my phone within a matter of minutes and get my confirmation and everything done. Simple. The same idea also is, you see it right now with certain McDonald's. I'm sure you've seen it around on Facebook or just throughout the media, how McDonald's are having automated machines where you can place your order. You don't need to speak with the cashier or quote unquote salesperson. And the same thing you also will see in a lot of other industries where they're using a machine to check out, and also servers. You see that with some restaurants where you can literally make your order and you don't have to deal with the server to take your order or to try to upsell you or anything like that. You can just do all of that stuff right from your table, get the food, somebody brings it out, and it's done. So the idea or principle is there. Are there jobs or are there things that can be done by a machine that we don't necessarily, or robot that we don't necessarily need a human being to do? Now, granted, you might be saying, well, Donald, I sell a complex software. The same thing that the senior manager said, because there will be ways that you can buy those things. I'm sure somebody said this years ago about a car. No one could ever take my job as a car salesperson, but look at what's happening now. You can purchase vehicles online. You can buy a lot of things online that you don't necessarily need to have the salesperson there for. And if we're oblivious to this, it's going to be something that's going to be detrimental towards our success or towards our future. Now, here is the upside to this. Here's what I think. I feel that there are jobs, like the lower end jobs, that things like this will happen for really soon. Just like we see with the cashier, which is a sales position. Look at the Labor Bureau. They classify cashier or retail sales professionals, people, as sales professionals. So whatever job where you're there as a person with some kind of money transaction, you're going to see that. You're going to see some of these things happen. But I feel, again, it's going to be more so on the lower end items right away. And also you're going to see that more so on the skill set that don't necessarily need a lot of selling. Again, going back to the cashier position, that you're not going to see a lot of selling going on there. They're going to try to get rid of things like that. Now, again, the idea is this, do I feel that let me get to my point first and share my feelings about it. And so I just want to give it real, just get straight to the point, give it to you real. I feel that that's going to happen. You feel that will happen. This is where Darwin theory comes in place. Not in all of the stuff. I don't agree with all of the stuff, but something I do agree on is the survival of the fittest. And what I mean by that, I love Netflix, and I always talk about Netflix, and someday maybe they'll sponsor the podcast, but I love Netflix, and we love watching the documentaries. And you see a lot of times with these animals. We watched a documentary yesterday about lions. One of the things that jumped out that was really interesting was about half of the cubs born in however batch of lions, whatever you call that, about half of the cubs born will die. And it's because of the elements that they have outside. You know, they have elephants that can stampede, and they have, they don't have a lot of lion. You obviously have poachers. You'll have the fact that it might get lost. It might get bit by snakes is one of the things they point out. So half those little cubs will die. It's just a matter of the fact. It's real. That's just how it is. In society, it's the same thing as well. It's the ones who are capable and able to survive those challenges that are going to thrive in the end, who's going to be around. And the same thing we saw in the real estate industry. They pointed this out in the article. Back when it was easy to sell in the real estate industry, when it was just like, shoot a fish in a barrel between 2000 and 2007, you saw how there's so many people that were in real estate. So many people. Everyone, you can talk to them, they had a realtor license. It was just that's what happened. But post 2008, right when that happened, you saw there was a flight. A lot of people left because there weren't, quote unquote, any way to sell anymore. There were some people who stuck around and was able to fight through it and was able to be very, very successful, even amidst all the horrible things that were happening with the economy. And even today, you see some people who are doing very, very well. Why? Because people still need a home. And they still need people who are capable of helping them to find that home, people who are able to bring value. And the realtors who last were the ones who were the strongest. They were the fittest. They were the ones that are capable of being able to bring more value. And that's why I feel with this idea of the salespeople, there are going to be a lot of salespeople losing their jobs in the next 20, 30, 40 years, just plain and simple. But it's going to be the salespeople who come into work, who come in and in the first hour, they're goofing around talking about, I don't know, just wasting time, talking about basketball games and just, walking and going throughout the whole office. They're the ones who are sitting at the coffee machine drinking and lollygagging. They're the ones that are, not having any goals or any vision. They're the order takers. They get, the main thing for them is they get a lead, and then person just walks through and can just give them the order and they take it. That's those salespeople are the ones that are going to be obsolete. And it's the survival of the fittest. And it sounds like I'm harsh and it sounds mean, but I'm just telling you the truth. That's what will happen. In order to survive, you have to be the fittest. You have to be someone that can come in and you can bring value to the customer. You hear this over and over again, but I'm going to break it down a little bit more. I might go longer than a 10-minute episode, but listen to me on this one. You have salesperson A and you have salesperson B. Both of them are selling to doctors. Person A is the one who may take the order. The doctor tells them this is what we're looking for, this kind of machine, and then they take the order. They're able to create the proposal and then get it turned around, and transaction is over. Or there's salesperson B. Salesperson B is an expert in this doctor's field, which is oncology. This salesperson has became this expert because she has read articles, she has watched videos, she has studied, she's gone to conferences about oncology and about challenges doctors are facing. She went above and beyond the call of duty of what a salesperson is supposed to do and became successful. She started a blog and she shared insights on some of the major challenges that doctors are seeing in their offices with the customer walk-ins and also maybe some of the procedures and the newest things that are out there. So when she goes to the table to speak with this doctor, she is bringing value beyond what any other seller can do because she became an expert, quote unquote, in the field of her customers. You have to understand the customer business in a way that you can then bring value to it. You can challenge them. This is a challenger mentality. You read the book, you've heard about it. It's a simple principle, guys. All it is, it's you becoming someone of so much value that you cannot be ignored. Someone who could come to the table and say, yes, this machine you're looking at is great, but what you really need is this. It's not necessarily a machine problem. It's a customer service challenge. And being willing to talk to someone and share stuff like that, that's going to separate you. I mean, it's someone who can not just be there and just be the day-to-day person. It's someone who's going to go above and beyond the call of duty, who can bring value to the customer. And value is going to vary tremendously amongst customers. When you become a top performing salesperson or when you become someone who's going to survive something like this, you have to bring value to the table. 2, you have to improve on things that robots can't do. What I mean by that, a machine cannot listen as well as a human being can. They can't read a person's body language and understand and to empathize with them as much as a human being can. When you can do that, when you can improve on your listening skills, when you can improve on reading body language and having empathy towards someone and being able to share stories, meaningful stories that tie back to individuals, when you're able to understand their business and paint pictures for them and give them a vision, that's where it comes from. And this is not going to be in your head, just come out automatically. You have to prepare. You have to bring value. You have to be able to survive. You have to be one of the strongest. And then the third area is being creative. Those sales professionals who are not creative will not last in 10 to 20 years when their jobs can be replaced by a computer. Because what you need to do, you need to think outside the box. You may think, oh, well, I just create proposals. I don't care if you create proposal. You need to create a masterpiece. When you give someone a proposal, what can you do to be so different that they're going to say yes to you? When you are talking to a prospect and they express certain things, what can you do to be different to show that you care? I mean, when you are reaching out to someone and, trying to express the benefit of your product or service, what are you doing different than everyone else is doing? It's being able to become the expert and think about their industry and to become a thought leader in that. It's not just simply going to trade shows about the customers, going to trade shows and being able to be a speaker, to be an educator. It's being able to start a podcast that's going to speak to your ideal customers and bring value to them. Those are people that are going to last in the 20 to 30 to 40 years when it comes down to it. It's the ones who can stand out from the crowd and bring value. When you have that touch, it doesn't matter. Listen to my podcast and you always hear that I ask guests, tell me about your coolest sales experience when you were the customer. A lot of people love the human interaction. A lot of people will still want that. And you have to be the person that they want. They don't want to just have someone that's going to be rude to them or somebody that's going to be just sitting there taking their order. You can get a robot for that. It's going to be somebody who can stand out from the crowd, somebody who can make them laugh, somebody who can make them think, somebody who can make them look and feel better. Those are the individuals. Listen to those stories that some of my guests share, and you'll be amazed. If you can follow some of those principles, you'll love it. And a good salesperson, a good buyer, they love to deal with really good salespeople. It's up to you to become that good salesperson that can stand out from the crowd. And don't be afraid of the phone. I mean, this is one of the things the article shared, because what's going to happen even more and more is that because so many people afraid of cold calling, you're going to find it that in maybe 15 years, there are going to be so many people who are just, even in 5-6 years, and even right now, there's so many people who don't call that it makes it even better for those who are really good salespeople. You can pick up the phone and build a relationship with someone and chat with them. There's unique ways that you can get on a phone with someone. There's a human interaction with that. Again, what can you do to stand out from the crowd, to be a little bit different? You don't have to spend all day cold calling, but you can use cold calling in a way to be able to, or warm calling, or again, just stand out from the crowd. Figure out a way that you can gain some kind of relationship and then have a human interaction on the phone with them or conversation with them, chat with them. There's so many different cool things that you can do to stand out from the crowd. Again, I really feel that they're in that time period, in 15 years, 20 years, there are going to be a lot of sales jobs that are just not needed. I agree with that. However, what I would share and what I do believe stronger is that the strongest salespeople, the one who bring the most value, the ones who are irreplaceable are going to survive, and they will always have a job. You're going to see the exodus in maybe 20 years again, where those sales jobs are going to go down. The lower end sales job, where the people who are just coming in and being an order taker, chasing the base, they're not there to bring value, to create a meaningful lifestyle and income. They're not thinking entrepreneurial. Those salespeople who are not doing that are going to be the ones that will either exit themselves or they will be forced to exit. Become unreplaceable. Is that a word? I hope so. Become someone who cannot be replaced by a robot, by a machine. Become someone that brings so much value that people will fight to have you be on their team, or to be in their company, or to be the distributor of their product. Now, I'm the evangelist, the sales evangelist, so I got to testify of this stuff to you. I know that this stuff is going to happen. I know that there's going to be that exodus of effective sellers, but I know that you can survive that based on the fact that you are someone that can withstand. You are someone that can bring value, and that you are an individual that is a professional in the very essence of the word. I hope this episode makes sense. You can go back to our website, thesalesevangelist.com/episode 229, and you can read some of the synopsis from this episode and also get connected to that article in Fortune magazine. I hope that you have a great Monday. I hope that you have a great day. You find success. Most importantly, I want you to be happy. I want you to go out and do big things.